Hey guys, I'm Cecilia Genie here, aka Mustached, and I'm finally back doing movie reviews. It's been a hot minute, uh, and actually, this is technically one of the movies I saw before the coronavirus hit, and I kind of got out of reviewing movies for a while. I just wasn't feeling it, and then the virus hit, and it made obviously, circumstances be what may. But I finally decided that I'm going to get back into it, and the only change I'm going to be making moving forward is at the beginning of the video I will be saying, if you end up enjoying what you hear from me at the beginning, I'll be saying, if you end up enjoying my video, please consider joining my Patreon page. Any donations are desperately needed. And with that, let the review begin. So again, this is a movie I saw right before the coronavirus hit. This is the movie My Spy, starring Dave Batista and Chloe Coleman, the child actress there, as well as Christina Skal, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and Ken Jeong as the poster names anyway. So, this movie begins in the state of Ukraine where some bad deal making is going down. And Dave's playing a pretend deal maker. He is known as JJ, and his partner in crime, his detective, or his gadget person, I suppose, the accurate term being, Ken Jeong, plays that off. And Dave admits that when it comes to being a spy, and he's doing this in front of everyone that is in the little group. He's trying to play off a accent, it's not going well, so he just goes off on the whole spy thing. And thus, he's proceeded to go off in a gun out and proceed to try and grab a briefcase. So he after being driven off, the radio plays off some music, and we kind of cut to a new scene. Once he returns to his HQ, Ken's character complains about how they weren't able to get the proper info. The briefcase he grabbed wasn't the correct one. It didn't have the correct material, so he ended up being cut away from being a spy. Meanwhile, we cut to the young girl who's practicing, or being pretty fluent in French, and from what I can tell. She talks with her mom, she lives there with her mom, and from there, when there's a new bust that is going down, Ken then explains his plans to both Dave's character, and what he plans to do with this guy named Victor. So they introduce Cole, this lady surveillance person that's with them. I believe that was her name. That's the name I wrote in my notes anyway. So anyways, they end up on surveillance duty, and this was just an excuse just to get them out of the way while they continued to do their main little thing. However, the daughter, Sophie, ends up eventually, bumbling around, and when JJ's out and about, sneaking off, the daughter kind of catches on eventually, and we see that the mom can't do certain things, and she asks this gay couple, to watch them while they are away. So, hold on. Give me a second here. I'm on my notes, and I got away from my notes. Sorry about that. It's been a while, so I do apologize for any inconveniences along this journey back into movie reviewing. Anyway, so she finds out. So after the gay couple, the daughter finds the camera and looks up the code, and she finds out that the person that's been recording them has been JJ, and JJ's taking his job a little bit too seriously still, probably even going beyond that. But she ends up saying that she might snitch them out, so he has to participate in the hijinks. Meanwhile, the mom is like doing stuff, and the gay couple like walk with him, and all throughout the rest of the movie, JJ is like sort of invited over to help the mom with stuff. Does so. Everyone's starting to hook him up, trying to hook him up with the mom, and trying to convince them to be together. So this movie is more of, I would say, a date movie than a spy movie, because a good portion of from the moment she's introduced, it sort of just shifts into that. So anyway, so Sophie, the daughter, doubles down on her little threat of exposing the spies. And JJ tells the truth to the mom. Of course, this is where everyone gets at JJ for doing that at the time and place. So anyways, meanwhile, in Paris, some photos are taken, and we see that JJ's partner wants to be more of a team member, seen more as a equal in spyhood throughout this as well, as the other part. But we were seeing them doing little practice runs on lie detectors and practice running away from explosions without looking at them, which is more of a Power Rangers thing. Well, that's what I immediately jump to when I think of walking away from explosions without looking at them anyway. We see him screw up with his partner, and cut to the bad guys doing their evil plans at a plant, and JJ meanwhile goes to the school fair and is doing more hijinks. The mom ends up also being there, and they do a walk and talk, and they end up going on another little date, and then the more of it fails, and the dancing. So, meanwhile, the tech lady finds out some deeper intel, but the gay couple brings her in. It turns out that they're eval all along. They were doing an act. JJ goes on another date, though, after a change of course, and the tech lady's asking Sophie all these sort of questions, and then they do this other little dance scene that I wrote down there. Anyways, so JJ ends up talking to Sophie over the phone. They talk, and she's like talking about her dad, and how the mom is like wants to do some sort of stuff, and then afterwards she talks with her mom about some certain stuff. Sorry if my later notes got a bit more vague. But it cuts to the bad guys getting ready to do their thing. Ken sends out his team, they rush inside, and JJ is brought in, and then, he does the official firing, I suppose, at this point. JJ is trying to convince the mom that he's fallen in love with her, steps up, admits it. Sophie talks about knowing the truth and telling the truth, and how she sort of set this up too to the mom. everyone's all going bleh. But before everything can get all sentimental, the bad guys attack. And the main bad guy is there, so the tech person gets in the case. And this is where I actually wrote the gay couple was bad, because that happened later on, and I jumped the gun a little bit, but again, my notes are a little bit scattered and vague, and I gotta get better at note taking, I do recognize that. However, the room is shot in, so Sophie is grabbed, and the tech lady pulls out some grenades and gives them a good old toss. Meanwhile, the mom helps out JJ, and they give some chase, and it ends up in a car chase. So JJ goes up ahead, goes to this like open area where people are wheeling and dealing. So they go fist to fist, and they try to create or get close to recreating an Indiana Jones scene with the plane, except they do it to not to the extreme. They kind of underplay it for attempt at comedy, I suppose. JJ and this bad guy, that being. So they end up grabbing this device, and then Sophie tosses this box thing, and then the mom comes out of nowhere, like she sort of drives into the scene, if I remember correctly, if my notes are to be believed. And Sophie grabs the device and causes an explosion on purpose after beating up the bad guys, and then Sophie does look, and the whole little moment was pointless. JJ gets back to the tech person, and they're seen as equals. They talk about equal pay for whatever reason. I don't know. JJ kisses the mom, gets the lady, and they go back to the ice rink to enjoy some more music and deal with some bullies that were in the movie at some other point in the movie. And that was the movie My Spy. So, as you could probably tell, not a great spy movie in any regard. Also not a great date movie in that regard, and also not a good big tough guy taking care of child movie. So it kind of does bad in 3 different areas, and I think that's the main problem, is that this movie's trying to do too many different things, not really honing in on any of them. It's sort of like trying to do all 3 of them and then failing to do all 3 of them, if that makes any sense. You would think that the easiest one to go for would be the spy one, considering the name of the movie, or the one you would want to focus on the most in terms of getting the movie accurate to the name. Name it after, if you're going to call something My Spy, actually have a little bit more spy work, or a little bit more in terms of that montage where they actually do a little bit more with the actual spy gadgets. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do with spy stuff. You saw it in that animated movie when I was talking about that once in a while ago with the bird. You had all those little gadgets and gizmos they were throwing around in that movie. Just as a comparison. Other than that, this movie doesn't really stand out in any real regard, I would feel. So I'd probably give it a 3 or 4 out of 10 for an honest score. And once again, repeating what I said at the beginning, if you ended up enjoying this review, then please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, make sure to check out those links in the description. One head to my Discord server, the other to my Patreon page. Any donations are greatly appreciated, and until next time, everyone, bye-bye.